Hey Questers, it's that time of year. It's the American football playoffs. Regardless of whether your team made it this year, starting later today, you get to don a jersey and helmet and get out on the field to throw around that pigskin and lead your team to a comeback victory. 2MD VR Football Unleashed releases later today on the Oculus Quest. Special thanks to Truant Pixel for sending me the game to check out. But is it a good call or should you call an audible? Let's jack in and find out. Whether you're a fan of football or not, who hasn't dreamed of being out on a field with crowds cheering as you lead your sports team to a last-minute victory? Well, now is your chance. 2MD VR Football, which stands for 2-minute drill, puts you right into that position and tells you to lead your team to victory at the last second. Before we get into the gameplay, let's address the visual style and graphics right away. Yes, it is a basic visual style. The players on both teams are training dummies instead of human beings, which I personally don't mind and you get used to. Beyond the training dummy characters, the visuals are also pretty basic with limited textures and a simple color palette. If you're looking for a Madden PS4 style game with high resolution visuals and super polished textures, this is not it. But what it lacks in visual fidelity, it more than makes up for in mechanics. But I'll get into that in a second. There are a few different stadiums, one for each team that you play in, that range from a video game themed stadium for the Pixels team to a Rocket-themed stadium for the Rockets team. Audio-wise, it sounds like a football game. From the play calls to the epic music and the tackle sounds, the audio is exactly what you'd expect from a high-energy football simulator. When it comes to the gameplay and options in the game, I love how 2MD handles it. First off, the game is a purely offensive game. You play as the quarterback who has to lead your team back from a deficit to win with just 2 minutes left. When you start off, the main menu puts you in a locker room. From the locker room, you're able to make adjustments to your uniform. You can change the logo and name, change your uniform colors, and even pick your theme music. Once you have your team's colors in place, you can then start working on your playbook. The game gives you a set of 8 already drawn up plays, and you switch between plays in-game using the thumbstick on either controller, each direction being a play, up, down, left, and right, which gives you a total of 8 plays, 4 on each controller. One awesome aspect of this game is the ability to draw your own plays and routes for your receivers. You can customize all 8 plays if you want, or just draw out that one game-winning play. From the main menu, you can access the training field, which allows you to practice your passing by throwing the football at hoops. There are a couple of different settings you can adjust to get your passing just the way you want it, from release height to throw power. To jump into a game from the main menu, just pick up the helmet and place it on your head, and vice versa. If you want to exit the game, just grab your helmet in-game and remove it. Each game is more of a series of games to see how far you can get. You start each matchup with 2 minutes left on the clock, and you have to work your way down the field to the end zone before the end of the game to score and win. After you win a match, you get to play a bonus mini-game of throwing the football through hoops to earn more points. The more points you earn, the higher up on the leaderboard you will get. After the bonus round is over, the next matchup will start, and you keep going on until you lose a match. I really like how they designed the gameplay because it lends itself really well to quick bursts of gameplay. For instance, I wanted to play a quick game before bed last night, so I grabbed the headset and played a few matches for about 10 minutes or so, and then I was done. It would be cool someday to have a more involved, full game style football simulator, but I think 2MD works well for what it sets out to do. Now let's talk about the mechanics and gameplay in the actual game. This is probably one of the best throwing mechanics I have used in a VR game. Throwing for me tends to usually be very clunky and hard to manage, but in 2MD you can really aim where you want it to go, and it actually goes there. I love how I can throw a floater into the air down the field or a bullet across the center of the field to a crossing route. How hard you throw dictates how far the ball goes, just like in real life, and honestly, I was surprised at how well it translated. I was able to get used to how hard to throw very quickly to get the ball down the field, and trust me, the first time you throw a bomb down the field and your receiver catches it for a 50-yard touchdown, you will get excited. Running isn't really an option in the game. I mean, you can run for a yard or two as the quarterback, but you'll get sacked pretty quickly. Speaking of getting sacked, I found that if you stand right in the pocket, at least early on in the game, you can get a lot of time to throw the ball. But as soon as you start moving out of the pocket, the defense will start to come after you. In later matches, the difficulty seems to go higher because even in the pocket, you'll start to feel the pressure. Speaking of moving, there are 2 forms of locomotion. Physical, so if you have a large enough space, you can actually run around behind the line of scrimmage to find an open receiver, or you can use the thumbsticks to move as well. The game itself is only offense, like I mentioned, so if you have a turnover on downs, you'll just start back at the 20-yard line again. Same with an interception. As you play the game, you'll start to earn trophies to fill out your trophy wall, which is a cool way to push people to play more, and there is also a leaderboard you can try to work your way up as well. When it comes down to replayability, this is going to depend mostly on you. I love jumping in and pushing my way to make it farther and beat more matchups. There isn't a story or campaign mode, it's really an arcade-style game. But if you love sports games or football, or you're super competitive and want to make it to the top of the leaderboard, then this game will keep you busy. This is the type of game that is really only possible in VR, and the freedom of the Quest makes it that much better. Of course, there are plenty of other football sims, but being able to play as a quarterback in the first person while scanning the field and actually throwing the football is a totally different experience. Personally, I'm a huge fan of 2MD VR Football Unleashed, and I think that even though the visuals are not anything spectacular, the gameplay far exceeds what I was expecting. The Quest needs more sports games, so I'm very happy to see the game coming to the Quest. If you're a football lover, or you just want to play a unique and challenging sports game, then I definitely recommend picking up 2MD VR Football. In fact, the devs were awesome enough to send me over a couple of extra game keys to give away. So, if you want to win a game key, then comment below with either your favorite NFL team, or if you don't have one, tell me your favorite sport or other sports team. If this review is helpful, please give it a quick thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that little red button down there that says subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on all things Oculus Quest. Thanks so much for watching, and happy questing.